Welcome to my fight show. Yes, this is the pilot episode and flying without a net. Little bit of a hiccup there the first time I tried to go live, but we are here. We are going to give this a try. See how this goes. Sure, it's going to be fine. It's going to be great. We got a whole lot to talk about. And right off the top, I feel like I should let everybody know what's going on, what this is. Of course, I'm Micah Frankel. You guys know that. Been around for a long time covering combat sports. This right now is presented on cageminds.com live across our social media. This is my fight show. You guys know me from the many of interviews that I normally conduct. There are the plethora of podcasts I'm lucky enough to contribute to. We've got Mike Adams 2.0, ESPN Radio Albuquerque, 1017 The Team. Every Saturday, we're there and we're talking about combat sports. We're taking the journey. We're playing fact or fiction. I'm arguing with Mike Adams about the Dodgers, possibly even the Lakers. We go to also diving deeper into the world of combat sports and pro wrestling when I join Michael Carlisle After Hours Podcast Network, MMA After Hours, Pro Wrestling After Hours. You can also check those entities out at cageminds.com. All that still rocks. That's still the same. But those two guys put up with a lot of the extra stuff in combat sports from me. I dive deep into the genre of combat sports where we're talking about a lot of different things, where we're getting involved with MMA, the UFC, where we're talking about bare-knuckle, where we're talking about so many different things. So this platform right here is going to be for those extra things, those things that, well, both guys, will they indulge me? I know it's a little deeper than they want to getting into the prelims, getting into most of the promotions that we see on UFC Fight Pass, getting into the world of bare-knuckle, BKFC, and BKB, maybe sharing some other thoughts and talking to some people locally about the world of pro wrestling. Going to be getting into a lot here on my fight show because I think I got into the world of power slap even faster than I ever expected to. It was kind of feeling like an inevitability with it being attached to the UFC to eventually be covering that sport too. And thanks to Robert Trujillo, Chelsea Dodson, Johnny Magna, I've already interviewed more power slap competitors than I expected to. And I'm figuring that's just going to continue. So we'll be getting into some of that on this platform. You know that I already do and have attended, have covered, and continue to write about BKFC, BKB, the wonderful products that they are putting out, and diving deeper into the world of bare-knuckle. So I'm hoping to get further into those events and bring on some of the great athletes from both promotions that I've been able to talk to before, take the journey, get the pre-fight interviews, do all of that right here. So yeah, a lot of the interviews that we've been doing, especially the Zoom ones, we're going to pull that over to this show. Go live Tuesday nights, start off the week, get the fight into your system, and get you ready for what's coming up. Now, that also includes bringing in a lot of our local friends. Going to the gyms, getting around the local scene has been a huge part of my maturation as a podcaster, YouTuber, MMA journalist, media member. And I don't want to not cover the local scene, give it any less attention. But I feel like with the litany of interviews I've been doing, there needed to be an appropriate place to kind of streamline the interviews and see if we could get more bang for our buck, get more people on and tell more stories, promote more fights. So that's what I'm hoping to be able to do here. We're going to have the regional scene, we're going to have the Fight Pass scene covered, we're going to be talking about Power Slap, Bare-Knuckle, everything that you could think of in the world of combat sports. A lot of the stuff that I feel like I extra bother the guys that I work with on those other podcasts, we're going to bring right here. And don't worry, we're still going to have the one-on-one interviews at the gyms, live on the scene with special guests as often as we can. Probably going to be for some big time interviews, for some kind of fights that have big consequences for those athletes moving forward. Tonight, of course, like the best laid plans of mice and men, I had a couple guests in mind had a couple more backup plans. We'll see what actually ends up working out. I do believe, though, here in 10 minutes, we will be joined by Fury FC 111 headliner Ismail Israilov. You guys have seen the devastation that man has left in his wake, whether it's been in the LFA, BKFC, or Fury FC. He returns, he headlines, he's getting Danilo Taylor in Houston, Texas. This could be the one that gets the call. Danilo Taylor, a well-rounded veteran. And come on, this guy, 2022, put up a dub over Rory McDonald. So it could be a hard fight, harder than we've seen for Israilov before. And it's definitely the kind of fight that should get some notoriety and attention. As we talk about getting notoriety and attention, something this week I didn't have a whole lot of time to deeper dive into on MMA After Hours, which the new episode is out. Guys, go check it out. Gable Steveson. Guy looks scary impressive. And we already knew ultra elite level athlete. The guy has accolades in wrestling that are literally what kids dream of when they start the sport. They hope to accomplish what he has been able to. And what does he do? He steamrolls his first MMA fight, took it to the ground. So we all expected that. But then in a bolder move than I think many of us expected, he challenges himself in a realm that most thought would be the longest for him to get used to. A striking bout. Dirty boxing. Not sure how much you've indulged in it. Not sure how much it's captivated you. But to me, I like the medium in the product of it being a upper body MMA striking competition. You got the MMA gloves. You're able to use a lot of the in close clinching techniques that you utilize in MMA. It's still working on your boxing, but the Superman punches, the spinning strikes, they all push an athlete to kind of be looking deeper into the thought process and strategies of an MMA bout rather than just the strategies of boxing or striking. Gable Steveson, we know he's an elite level athlete, but it's more than that. It was getting into the ring with Billy Swanson and showing composure. And that may sound like a little thing, but when you're doing something that's brand new, the composure is not going to be there. Steveson, yes, has been on the Olympic levels for grappling, and that will harden you as a competitor from an experience level to a certain point. But I got to believe that when you're getting out on that stage for the first time to do something that you've never done in a ring, in a platform that you've never been in before, it's going to kind of test you in a different manner than it would if you had been used to it. So getting out there, looking composed, to me, really was impressive, first off. Second, balance. It might not sound like a big thing, but how many heavyweights overthrow their punches, overthrow their feet, get out of control, get wild, having balance, having better than average for your second overall fight, punch selection, all made it a very impressive debut into striking. Do we see Gable in another striking matchup like this? I don't know if that's going to be the case. That is left to be seen, because we could very easily say he is UFC bound. We've seen what we need to see. There's a lot of discussion. Could he beat someone currently on the UFC roster? I wouldn't be surprised with the shallowness of the current heavyweight division. It looks like a real high possibility that all the hype, all the potential could be true, and we could be looking at the next heavyweight that the UFC has been waiting to promote. Just a spectacular performance from Gable Steveson, and I don't think that could be highlighted anymore. You can't underplay it as far as a fighter, as far as a competitor, answering, I think, all the necessaries. Gable Steveson, now 2-0 as a fighter. Kind of wonder if you're able to get him a little more seasoning, LFA, DBX, but I don't know how many people are going to be jumping at the opportunity to sign up for that fight. Yeah, you pull off the upset, there's a lot of reward. There's a lot of notoriety, but that is a very steep fight and opportunity to be taking at this level, especially in a heavyweight division that you string together a couple wins, 5-6 wins, and the door is, you're knocking on the door, the phone is ringing, the UFC is calling. Gable Steveson is the kind of loss that sets you back because you're already being tested against the elite level, possibly before you're even ready for it. So it's going to be interesting to see how Steveson continues his path. You already, there is a lot of talk that Gable Steveson is learning from some of the best. You see John Jones, you see the Greg Jackson, you see Brandon Gibson in the corner. That is elite level training. It's elite level thinking, elite level game planning in MMA, in combat sports. And there's a lot to then be excited about Gable Steveson. We're here on the pilot episode. If you check this out, I appreciate you. Working out the bugs, working out the kinks, trying this out for the first time, seeing how it fits. I'm thinking we're liking it, and it's only going to get better from here. Just a couple minutes away, I'm going to be joined by Fury FC 111 headliner. You can watch that one on UFC Fight Pass, or if you're in Houston, Texas, get your tickets. It's Ismail Israilov coming up here soon. And I think at the top of the hour, still waiting to get confirmation at 7:00, fingers crossed, efforting him. Hopefully we're going to hear from Hondo Gutierrez under 20 seconds. I think it was like 17 seconds. We got knockouts, quick, early first round knockouts from that young man, one of the top bantamweight, flyweight, lower weight class prospects here in MMA on the regional scene. So we're just getting started. Hopefully some of the guests show up and we'll keep on going for a while longer. Ismail Israilov, want to talk to you guys about him just a little bit before he comes on the show. Top level prospect, killer wrestler. First fight that I watched him here in America at the LFA, dislocates his own arm, pops it back in place, dislocated shoulder, pops it back in place, and proceeds to ground and pound with that arm. The tenacity, the ferocity, the desire to fight through that kind of an injury. Elite level athlete, really making a huge push towards the UFC. We saw him take off the gloves for one fight, go to BKFC on the Prospect Series. Absolutely devastating knockout. So many skills he possesses. Ismail Israilov already racked up a couple wins in Fury FC, and now he gets his biggest fight coming up on November 9th. It's going to be the main event of Fury FC 111. We should be being joined by him any moment this weekend, guys. Don't forget, we did have the huge victory. A teammate of Israilov's, Jackson Wink's own, Albuquerque's own, homegrown, born and bred, UFC now top 10 ranked featherweight, Steve Garcia. Crazy, impressive performance. Congratulations to him. That was a huge victory. And Steve, ridiculously impressive victory, just blasting through the competition. That one, wow. A huge win. And now we wait to see who will they give Steve next. Looks like he's almost ready. We're going to need just a moment for me to get this together, everybody. Going to possibly take a minute timeout. You're watching the pilot episode of My Fight Show. We'll be back with Ismail Israilov. And we are back. Can you hear me, Ismail?
Yeah, I hear you. How are you?
I am doing good, my friend. How are you doing?
Same. Everything same. Always good.
Fury FC 111 gonna be in the main event, a big moment that we've all been eagerly anticipating, waiting to see you continue to make this journey, make this climb towards the UFC. So, of course, we got a couple questions for you coming up here. November 9th. What are your thoughts on getting the main event spotlight?
I'm really excited. It's a big opportunity for me. Show my name, show my skills. In the big arena. But it's my second main event beginning this year. February 21, 22. I don't remember when I have fight with Richard Mayo. It was like last minute. It's like last minute I take this main event, but also second main event in Fury. That's motivated.
Do you like how you look on the poster?
Not bad. I don't know.
Looking good, looking good.
Okay. Right now I'm cut weight. I don't care how I look.
Of course, that weight cutting. Earlier in the year, you had talked to me about driving trucks. You're out there working. With now this being your third fight of the year, have you been able to leave the truck and stay here to train?
No, I leave when we talk. We after this when we talk about it, I leave and work 6 months. Uh, After the first fight beginning this year, I after this fight I work 2 months on track, come back, train or 7 week and made the last fight. There I broke my hand, and all again I'm go to road and work like 6 week, and after I come to August 20 and start my training camp for this fight. It's hard. You can stay here, try work, and but you distract your focus. You're not always in gym. It's bad. And when you same time try work and train, you know, you lose your mind. It's too hard. That's why I'm go work there like month and make money for training camp and come back. It's hard without sponsors. If somebody watch this video or this stream, guys, we need like I need support. I need like somebody who can like some collaborate. I don't know. Right now, maybe late, maybe after it will be late. It's different price, everything right now.
Get it? Well, he's a easier commodity to deal with. He's about to be a hot commodity. Danilo Taylor,
Hmm.
the opposition, he's an experienced competitor. He has some good finishes on his record. What have you noticed in preparation that sticks out about him?
Uh, I don't know, about the topology website is where you show all the information about fighter, record, with who he fight, la la la, everything on this website. And there he number one welterweight in North America right now. And big name for me, also big opportunity. I find like people who can cut my way to UFC, and people like this, fighters like this, opponent like this, make my way in this promotion a little bit short. It's nice.
Someone like Danilo Taylor, he has wins over names like Rory McDonald. He's been in the PFL tournament.
He was PFL belt contender. He fight for belt. He fight with two-time champion Magomed Karimov. He fight with undefeated Magomed Umalatov. He fight with welterweight champion. I don't know this. I don't remember this name, but he's champion level fighter. And he also fight with Carlos Loyal. He's right now top 15 in UFC. Man, big name.
So usually feel like you don't have a full opinion of your opponents. Does this guy feel like you respect him more?
I respect anybody who come to cage with me before and after this 15 or 25 minutes. But when cage is closed and we start fight, I don't care your name, your experience. Everything does not mean nothing. I'm training so hard every day in gym, 20 time in week, not for like have like some this big name, this guy have experience. I don't care. I have respect with anybody who come to cage who not talk shit about me, or who respect with me. I respect back. But in this 15 or 25 minutes now, it's you need smash this guy. Doesn't matter who.
Maybe it's not disrespect. I just feel like when I ask you about the opponents, normally you're like, "Eh,
I don't want to spend my time, or think about I don't care. I'm trying hard. I create all the reason for win, and I don't have time for the how would say um, have like some I don't know how to say right. Like, I don't have time, I don't want to spend my time with the wrong way.
you don't have time for those kind of thoughts. It doesn't
Yeah,
affect
yeah,
you, it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
bother you.
yeah.
You have this calm, intense demeanor. Do you almost feel that maybe not intentionally, but intimidates some of your opponents?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. If this is you need to ask my opponents. I'm always calm. I don't care. I don't have nervous. I no worry about fight. It's nothing. this camp, like it's like long 2 months, 3 months, and more hard than fight. And I don't have nothing for the worry. I'm not worried. I don't know, but when the fight starts, I think it be more smart. If you will be a little bit scared because it will be painful.
Oh, we know you want to make the statement. Why do you feel you're the best welterweight outside of the UFC?
Everybody who fight, who compete, who push themselves forward, think the best guy. Why I'm not? I'm 6'1" right now. All my fight with the tough guy, with undefeated, outside my weight class, and now with number one, welterweight. Yeah. Why not?
Why not you?
Why not? I mean, yeah.
What do you think is going to be in store for you after this fight?
I don't know. We will see. But if you beat number one welterweight, I don't know. Next step, UFC. I don't know. Or the belt, but I don't know. This champion is too lazy. He made one fight in this year, take this belt and hold this. I don't see this where he fight. I fight now it will be 3 times in this year. Still, I'm working on road. I come back, lose my shape, take this back, and still I'm try to be busy without injury. I try to be busy, but champion hold this belt too lazy. I don't worry about this belt. I need UFC. And Taylor, it's like exactly what we need for this.
Fury FC 111 UFC Fight Pass, November 9th. Everybody watch. He's in the main event. I thank him so much for the time. Ismail Israilov.
Thank you.
Here we go, guys. First guest out of the way. We did it. We had him on the show, and I didn't fall apart with doing the production. So that was awesome. I appreciate Ismail all the time, helping him work on his English. He's allowing me to bother him. Great first interview out of the way. The amount of prospects now starting to again materialize out of the Jackson Wink Academy. Incredible amount of talent coming out of that gym. Once again, you got Steve Garcia's big win. We got Ismail Israilov. And then you have Josh Hokett this weekend making his debut. So it's 3 weekends in a row back for the gym here locally to have some big fights going on. When we get back, I'm going to talk a little bit more, but I do have confirmation. The Mean Machine will be joining us tonight before we end the stream. There'll be much more to come in just a moment. Or maybe we'll just stay right here because I'm not able to actually do what I was thinking I was up to. Oh. We're back, everybody. And I think we might actually be able to get Hondo Gutierrez in here and Steve Garcia before the night ends. Thank Ismail once again for that wonderful interview. Guys learning English, doing very well at practicing the language. Didn't really talk about it this past weekend. We did have some BKFC also that took place. Didn't fully get into that on MMA After Hours. BKFC Fight Night in Michigan. Looks like a contender was born in the cruiserweight division. The vicious first round knockout from Esteban Rodriguez. Rodriguez running into the pocket, getting right after the fight. And even though he ate some left hooks, he gave back even more and put it on the unbeaten. Well, previously is going to be the key there. Unbeaten Cavender. Huge first round victory. That's 3 in a row for Rodriguez, and closing in on a title opportunity. Hard work paying off there in the BKFC. Zach Cavender, only his first loss. It was the right hand in the clinch. His face that was a lot of damage for inside the first minute. Statement making. The co-main event, also huge, now 5-0, efforting to get him on next week. The Rivera era continues to grow as Nathan Rivera puts down former title challenger Tommy Stratton inside the third round. Right cross looked like it broke the jaw. Violently efficient win, an 11-fight card that got 5 done in the first round, including that main event. The weekend also had some great action with karate combat, dramatic knockout win for Andre Ewell, the UFC vet, and former PFL champion Emiliano Sordi. Oh, if you haven't seen the karate combat, you want to go back to that old school kickboxer feel. You see them compete in that same platform that is the jiu-jitsu that the CGI is done in. So that was some epicness for a weekend of fights. That delivered. We also had the ridiculousness. If you want to hear more about possible gambling and accusations, hypotheses, and a little bit of conspiracy theory, head on over to MMA After Hours. Me and Michael Carlisle deep dived into the Isaac Dugagarian, the entire betting situation. Also got to have a lengthy conversation about the Antidilia Waldo Cortez Acosta outcome. That one, I believe, should be changed to a no contest. Most likely it will not. The commission is not going to get to a place where they are going to be sharing their faults. I don't think they're going to be that open with us, but I do believe it's necessary and should happen. I mean, you had so many procedural errors, from the fight being stopped and called a TKO to no one understood that there was still a review going on. And that just led to all kinds of chaos. The review, the amount of people that were let in. You're not allowed to be on a stool during a foul. You're not allowed to have the cut man working on you. Your team can't come in. You can't be on the corner. Many procedural errors, but Michael Carlisle was right on the episode. He breaks it down excellently as to why that fight will most likely not be a no contest. I feel it should be, but I probably stand alone in this. He made some great points as to why. So yeah, go and check out MMA After Hours, wherever you get your favorite podcast, to check out most of those big topics. We also on that platform, we're able to talk about the and get deeper into the Jake Paul, Tank Davis situation. Not going to do that here. Go on over there. Check that out. MMA After Hours. We have sent the invite. Yes, we are hoping, we are efforting and trying to get the Mean Machine be joining us. Huge win. Top 10 ranked in the world. It's been a long road. It's a well-deserved ranking. It's 7-fight win streak. It's 6 knockouts. It was a coin flip fight, and he took it out of anyone else's hands besides his own. And he shows all the hard work that is paid off. Can't wait to talk to the Meme Machine here. We're going to get him at the top of the hour. Still going live here, still chugging along. BKFC this past weekend, phenomenal action. UFC, really, really good action. And it was one of those fight cards where us locals, we were locked, ready, tuned in. Steve Garcia, huge opportunity. If you weren't there on the prelims, I can't blame you, but there are definitely some guys that are worthy, guys and gals, talk about worthy from the prelims. Billy Alcana, light heavyweight division. We need more prospects developing. He gets the club and sub, takes the back of Kevin Christian and gets the rear naked choke. Starting to put things together, an intriguing prospect to keep an eye on. And I love the maturation of a prospect. If you're just getting on the Steve Garcia bandwagon right now, you missed out. 7-fight win streak. There have been a lot of great moments. You want to be there from the beginning, and that's why I am a prelim fan. You start to see the maturation of top prospects and people like Dante Johnson, the UFC debut, barely winning his 7th fight, went from 6-0 as a heavyweight, including the win on Contender Series, to his UFC debut as a middleweight. Those of us involved in combat sports, we all know that your first weight cut should not come in the UFC. Weight cutting is a delicate art, a delicate science, and just to be able to come out of that first weight cut and perform, you don't understand how hard it is for those of us that have never done it. Dante Johnson, he needed a challenge. Cedricus Dumas offered resistance, didn't allow Johnson to come in there and just do what he's done all across the regional scene. And that's light guys up with heavy hooks and just dump on them. Dumas made this a wrestling match. We saw more skills. We saw composure. We saw the ability to grapple. You need to see a fighter's cardio base. And Johnson had the gas tank to get into the second round, and then the creativity to get the ninja choke, pressing his grappling. I think there was a lot of positives that can't be underscored enough about a prospect and making that UFC debut. It may just have been once again in the Apex. Much bigger lights, much bigger card. This was a different experience, and it was a great test pass by Dante Johnson. Also got to look at that and seeing Talita Alinkar get the submission win over Ariane Carlosi. She needed to come out there and show it. She took Carlosi, who had had a lot of developmental time, almost 2 years away from the UFC, showed a lot of improvements, and then got taken right out of the striking realm in which she wanted to have the fight in, got pulled right down to the ground, and almost had the rear naked choke in the second, comes through with that pay dirt in the third. Alan Carr, huge victory victory. So a couple of those people on the prelims that I thought you got to give the respect. You got to shout them out. Take a moment to reflect on some improving fighters. Alice Ardelin also, or Ardelion, excuse me, with the 30-27 unanimous decision victory for a grappler. She really put her striking acumen on display, getting the win over Monserrata Cornero Ruiz. Also a grappler, but hey, you got to show that improvement somewhere. Nora Dumont, it's a 6-fight win streak. Can she break through now and get one of those big names in the bantamweight division? Maybe Raquel Pennington. A lot of work put in. Not the most aggressive fighter immediately, not the most volume heavy fighter, but a fighter that has put in the work, got the victories, has a very good striking base to controlling the fight, and showed more than enough grappling acumen, defending all of the attempts and nullifying a lot of what was going on from Caitlin Vieira. So those were a couple things I wanted to get off my chest from the UFC prelims. That was UFC 110 prelims we just discussed. And coming up this weekend, your UFC action back at the Apex one more time. It's UFC, or that was UFC 110 prelims. We just went over. It's UFC Fight Night Vegas 111 this weekend. Gabriel Bonfim, Randy Brown, Gabriel Bonfim, great jiu-jitsu, tenacious grappling. Randy Brown, someone I've had the opportunity to talk to quite a few times, been in the UFC a while, very good experience, a very good striker coming from a traditional karate background. That one I think is really going to be a fun one. Just a couple minutes away from being joined by the Mean Machine. I'm excited for this one, guys. I'm excited to get to talk to him after the win. I was excited probably a little bit more than he was to do his 8 millionth interview before the fight. And now we're going to get his 9th millionth interview after the fight. I wonder what you guys think. I wonder what the audience thinks, because my thought process with the victory that Steve got, he called out Josh Emmett. That call out made a lot of sense when Josh Emmett was sitting above Steve in the rankings. And now that that has flipped, maybe we're looking up a little higher. I'm thinking maybe Arnold Allen. That sounds like the right name, because there's a lot of discussion that we're going to have the possibility of, is it Lerone Murphy? Is it Diego Lopez? Is it Movsar Evilov getting that next crack at Alexander Volkanovski? 3 really deserving competitors with really solid arguments. Sitting right outside of that list with no connection to Steve, Arnold Allen, a guy that has been on the precipice of his own title shot previously, not able to cash in. Really courageous fight against Max Holloway. I think that might be the guy that we're looking at. Oh, yeah, and don't worry, we can definitely get Joey Villasenor for an interview on here sometime. Just barely launching the live. Did have an interview with him, though. It was a few years ago. Granted, it was a few years ago, where we talked about his commitment, his mindset, his thought process about transitioning from being an active fighter into coaching. Don't worry, we will get, because of the request, we'll make sure to do that. Don't even got to tell you guys, but the amount of shuffling of the deck that took place today, I got some stuff lined up for next week. We have some stuff lined up for next week. Next Tuesday, looking forward to it almost as much as here in a moment. We're looking forward to the Mean Machine, Steve Garcia. You jump in the chat. If you got an idea of who you think he should be fighting next, let me know. You want to throw out there Volkanovski? Throw it out there. Thinking Arnold Allen might be the right fight to take that next step and say, could this be a potential title eliminator? Are we getting to that place? Is there a possibility of Aljamain Sterling? That's another name who seems to be free and available. I'm not fully tapped into the insider talk of knowing who's matched up with whom, but I'm liking to hear some ideas out there. We are counting down the days till the end of the pay-per-view era, but we're not there yet. And we have now, for the pay-per-views and numbered events, launched another series. Because here we are with My Fight Show. Again, appreciate you all for tuning in to this inaugural pilot episode. I'll probably name the next one episode 1 when I feel more comfortable saying that. But this is just a pilot because we are flying without a net right now. We are being live also on YouTube for those numbered events, for those pay-per-view events. That is Cage Minds Live. It is the encompassing of many of us. And right now, got to thank Jalen Fuller, the gentleman. Yes, our APFC 21 headliner coming up here at Isleta Resort and Casino in Albuquerque, New Mexico, November 23rd, for joining me and Rob Gutierrez on the first show. Robbie Ray Images. Check him out. All of the wonderful images that he is putting out when he's using that camera, when he's behind the scenes. He jumped in front of it to be a member of the watch along. Time to time, Michael Carlisle is going to be jumping in and joining us, and coming up confirmed for our UFC 322 watch along. That one's going to be November 15th. That is the card from Madison Square Garden. We will be joined by Fight World 41 headliner James Romero from Fit NHB, one of the most talented middleweight prospects that the Southwest has to offer. Head of his headlining duties. A week before, he's going to be right here with us in the studio to watch Islam Magomedov look to become a 2-division. Do we still say it? Or just a multi-division world champion? I guess he did vacate the lightweight title, and he's going to challenge Jack Della Magdalena. Can't wait for that one. Truly, that co-main event's going to be incredible too. Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Wei Li. Can Wei Li make history? 2 fighters going for that at the same time. I can't wait. Robbie Ray Images, Rob Gutierrez, James Romero going to be joining me here live in studio. This weekend, again, your UFC action. It's from the Apex one more time. I can understand if you guys don't love those fight nights, but I love those fight nights more than a weekend without the UFC. I can appreciate what we're getting with those cards, with those builders. It's almost like your Tuesday night fights back in the day when you were getting ready for pay-per-views, because at a point they started to taper off in that boxing world and started to get the stars more towards the weekend, more towards those big fights. And this is the equivalent of preparing them. That's why we've seen Steve Garcia elevate himself. He's become, as he's called himself, and I didn't want to steal the nickname from Randy Orton. I was thinking Apex Predator, but he's now said it a couple places. The Apex King. The Mean Machine has put it together, and it's great to see what hard work has done. We've seen a lot of guys captivate the audience with social media antics. And Steve has truly stayed himself since day one, putting in the hard work, earning these opportunities. And this is truly an exciting point where we're going to see all that hard work come into play against names that I wonder if he's going to consider to be dream fights. Making the effort to get Steve on right now, everybody. Hopefully just a minute, and we will have the Mean Machine going to actually take a 30-second, I think, and give myself a moment. I'm back, and we're bringing him in right now. The Mean Machine. How you doing, Steve?
Doing good, brother. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm all right, flying by the seat of my pants, learning this for the first time. But hey, we're live. We're doing it.
Right on, brother. Well, look at you, live and in action right now.
Right.
Everybody, Michael Frankel.
Shout out to everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. I'm not sure how I messed that one up. We're supposed to be live there. It has a little check, but it's not actually live. I'm going to figure that one out later. This is a work in process here. You know what that's like.
Oh, everything's a work in process with me, bro. Trust me, I'm always 2 steps behind when it comes to real life, but in fighting, I'm always a step ahead.
I got to ask about the shiner there. What cut you? You barely got hit.
Nah, man. I think it was a glancing blow, probably within a minute or two of the fight. He definitely hit me with something, and I felt a little trick on my eye. Um, you know, you just it's a fight, man. Sometimes it happens, bro. It cost me 10 stitches. It was definitely a cut I've had prior to it, just reopened, but it just happens, bro. We're fighting.
I watched the fight about 3 times just trying to figure out when you started bleeding because it looked like you didn't start bleeding until you actually went to celebrate.
Not well, I felt the trickle, and Zalal was actually kind enough to let everybody know because he's freaking loud. And he's like, he kept saying, Onama, you see the eye? See the eye? Okay. And then I obviously could hear Onama be like, yep, got it, yep. And I'm like, he's a little busy, bro.
How was the warm up for that fight? Because you came out and you looked ready, like obviously right away.
No, I felt great. I was in the back. I think we timed it perfectly, man, because Wink was like, "No, we're not gonna warm up till this fight. We're gonna start moving, here, but nothing crazy." And then, I had Diego in the back with me, so we were able to work a few things. Greg wanted to see a few different things, and then me and Wink were just always like in sync all the time. So, yeah, we were ready to go. The only thing that kind of sucked was like in the back, we had to wait a little bit longer to walk out. Normally we just walk out, and this one because it's a main event, and I was in the red corner, so I came out last. I could hear him. I heard him screaming and yelling in the back. I was just trying to lock in, man. And once my song hit, it was just go time.
When you get that extra treatment, are you able to acknowledge it to kind of feel that vibe when you're walking out to the octagon that, hey, you got the lights, you got that last person out vibe?
It was kind of weird because like normally you kind of go in. There's like a little like aisle that you go down, but for me it was just a hallway and then it was opened up. So it was different than what I was used to. But yeah, man, I was just like I said, I was zoned in, I was locked in, and it didn't matter if I was coming out from the bathroom, from the back door. It didn't matter. I felt good.
How do you think they had time to acknowledge that your eye was cut? Like you said, you were all offense, and it seemed like the very first overhand, it affected Onama.
I mean, to be honest, I think I caught him early on with the right hook, and I don't think he expected that. But I was just prepared for everything. You know what I mean? That's what we do at JW. You know what I mean? We just prepare for everything. I thought he's been fighting at more of out of a southpaw stance, and this one he came out at an orthodox stance, and I'm just like, bro, like, okay, just whatever we got to do. You know what I mean? I just said, I think fine, and made the reads that I needed to make, and I think he was still trying to figure it out because I did put heavy pressure on him early on. So yeah, I think he was just 2 steps behind me.
Also, it looked like there was a heavy emphasis on your part to dig to the body. There was at least 3 bodies that's like, ooh, oh, oh. Could Was that something that you read in real time? Was that something that you had read in lead up?
You just got to mix it up. It's 5 rounds. You know what I mean? You got to pay some dividends, and if it goes to the 5 rounds, I think those body shots will add up over time, and I think it slows you down in general. So yeah, why not? You know what I mean? If it's open, you don't want to be too predictable in there. You want to switch up the targets, and other things kind of open up. So that's kind of what happened for me.
How emotional is that moment? Your first UFC main event, it's the first round stoppage.
It's special, bro. It's just special, and it couldn't have gone any better for me. I mean, I guess maybe it could. Wouldn't have a black eye, but to me, I'm always prepared for war. I expected a war, and I come out, hot out the oven, brother. Like I'm going. Like once that bell rings, I'm going, and I went first. You know what I mean? I think I even said in my interview that I was going to be that fly that wouldn't go away, and just kind of just an annoyance. And I don't think he was ready for that.
Again, people are always going to find something to say about their performance. This one was freaking remarkable, and it opened up the door, and it did, I think, even more than you expected, because we had talked, and you said, probably fighting to get my number 11 back. We're into the single digits, buddy.
Yeah, man, it's cool. We're broken in the top 10, so now I'm one of the guys, right? Um, I still don't know how that's gonna affect the next fights and stuff. Hopefully, they'll give me somebody that's ahead of me and not behind me. Um, I don't know, man. There's everybody's kind of at a standstill, but there's tons of rumors going around on who's getting matched up to who and who's potentially fighting who. So I think in the next probably month we're gonna figure out what's gonna happen, and then after that, I think they can match me up with somebody.
I'm gathering that you wouldn't have called out Josh Emmett if you knew you were going to jump over him, because that was the hope. Get somebody ahead of you and get somebody with some name recognition. So now that he's not there, is there a name that you like the most that is ahead of you?
I'd probably, to be honest, I'd probably say Leroy Murphy. Murphy would probably be ideal. I like that matchup. Um, Maybe him or like, they're calling for Yair. I wouldn't mind that fight either. I actually used to train with them, and he's a good friend. I don't necessarily like that type of situation. If it calls for it, it'll happen. But I don't necessarily care about that matchup per se, right at this particular moment. But at this point, it's just whoever's available and what makes sense, right? So they give if they give honestly like a fun fight. I know for sure a fun fight would be me and Diego Lopez, but I have a very very um high, I guess you could say, suggested situation that he's probably, um, if not fighting for the title next, he'll be he'll be fighting like within a fight or two of the champion. So I'm assuming he's gonna have a title eliminator if he's not fighting for the title already. So we'll see. I think that would be a fun one. Everybody's talking about me fighting Gene Silva, but again, if I'm number 8, I'm fighting number 10 or 11. If I'm fighting Josh Emmett, I'm fighting number 9 or 10, whatever they are. I don't even know. But it just has to make sense. You know what I mean? Everybody's telling me to who they want to see me fight. I'm like, dude, I'm probably gonna have to fight all of them. So that's how I view it. I don't know. I can't pick and choose. Um, I guess I could. I guess you could say no, but I mean that's not really up my character.
Yeah, that's not what you do.
No, I go in there and fight. That's what I do. That's what they pay me to do.
I threw out right before you jumped on as I was trying to build up the anticipation for you getting on. My thought process was Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling, possibly one of them. I don't know if Sterling is going to answer that exciting category that you wanted. Arnold Allen would, though, and he's at least ahead of you.
Well, I think both of them may be getting matched up. I don't know when they're gonna fight, who or what, but I do. There's things in the air right now, that they're looking at. So, um, if that's a possibility, or if I have to just go through them, they're like, no, you gotta fight one of those guys. Okay, then yes, I'll fight them. Like I'm in a position where I don't really get to be like, I don't feel like it. I've never really been that way, anyways. But I'm just uh I guess people will cherry pick at the top. I guess I don't know. It's weird. I'm not. I'm new to this. Okay.
I'm just going to guess from my 2 cents that with the transition of broadcast companies, there's a little bit of how do we not overshadow what's happening on ESPN by announcing our plan for the next year. So I wouldn't be surprised if prior to one of the next two pay-per-views, there's a mass press conference where we end up getting a lot of what you're speculating actually officially announced. And we were just kind of waiting for the right time to pitch what's going to happen next year.
Yeah, exactly. They had to say it at some point because, um, the New Year is gonna be right around the corner before you know it. I know they got an MSG card. I know they got a T-Mobile card, and they probably have another one, in December. Um, but yeah, nobody really knows a whole lot what's going on. So I don't even know if there's gonna be fights in January. And I saw that like on social media somewhere. I don't know. The transition from ESPN to Paramount is going to be very, very interesting. I don't know. A lot of us don't know. So at the end of the day, I think there's just so much question. I don't know.
Now that you've reached the throne, you officially coronated yourself. I was going to call you the Apex Predator, but I don't know if that'd be too TKO synergy of, Randy Orton's nickname, but you called yourself the Apex King, and then you reaffirmed it with what you did. And now I don't think you returned to that kingdom for quite a while.
I guess not. I don't know. I think they want to keep me away from the Apex. Everybody's telling me to stop fighting, eh? Uh, it is pretty easy for me. I go in. I'm very comfortable there. That's a place that I got the PI still, and I get to. Um, I don't know. I just have access to everything that makes my life easier, and so I don't mind it, man. And they pay me the same to fight in the Apex that they would in an arena. The only difference is that like I don't have a crowd and people don't get to see me work. They don't get to see me shine, and that part sucks because I feel like that's something that not many people are aware of, that I'm here. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, "Who's this kid?" I'm like, "Well, just keep watching, man. Just like tune in. You want to know, just watch."
You can't tell me you don't already know the pay-per-view is the trajectory next. We're not seeing you in the Apex. We're not seeing you on a fight night. We're not even seeing you out of town on a fight night. I think we're seeing you on a pay-per-view.
I mean, bro, God leads the way. That's all I gotta say is God leads the way. And if that's what it's meant to be, that's what it's meant to be.
How do you keep that mentality? How do you keep that aura?
By training your ass off and working for everything you got, man. I know what it's like. I don't let myself forget what it's like to be a nobody. I know that. I remember what it's like to be a loser. I know what it's like. I hold on to that very dear. And if I don't humble myself, God will. And I'm like, hey man, I'll do it. I'll do it. You know? Um, I just I want to go out there and use the gifts he's given me. And I wouldn't want that to go to waste. And I think that I'm doing a decent job at utilizing what I got.
We got a couple more minutes left with Steve. I told him I wasn't going to take up too much time, and I've probably already went over how much time he's wanted to do for his 100th interview of the week. What has it been like being on this rampant media tour?
No man, it's cool. I mean, I've been kind of getting warmed up to it, right? They start off with a few, then they tack on more, and now it's just like overload. So it does get kind of hectic. I will say that, but yeah, man. What's nice about it is I get to kind of just take a second, right? So I may not. I'm still treating this like work. I may not be in the gym right now. I mean, I go for a run, but I may not be in the gym right now. But this is still work for me. So I'm treating it like my job. I'm still having these conversations with whoever's. My management's telling me like, hey, you got XYZ interviews, and at these times do they work for you? And I just say yes, and then I just hop on and I get to chat with y'all.
You're putting in so much work, all of it coming true. Does this to you feel like what you imagine the success would be like when you dreamed about it?
I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew what I was capable of doing, and I had to give it a go, man. I had to believe in myself, and I you get consumed. I don't know if it's a human nature thing. I don't know if it's a New Mexico thing. I don't know, but we get used to just like always doubting ourselves or not trusting that we can do something or we don't believe, and I just I don't want to be that guy, because I've been that guy and it doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do you any good to doubt yourself. It doesn't do you any good to not believe in yourself. Like you just got to put in the work. Like if you're willing to put in the work, you can do whatever you want, and um, it's a little surreal sometimes. You know what I mean? Like when the UFC came and followed me for a few days, I'm doing all these shots and doing all these things, and I literally like looked up because they wanted to get like a glimpse of the mountains, and with me kind of like up close in the mountains in the background, and like I just looked up and I just saw like my city, and dude, I was just like so grateful, you know what I mean? And um like I said, I was just looking, I was just thanking God. I was like, man, I was like, it finally happened. You know what I mean? Where like I was like, the UC's in my house. Like the UC camera people are in my house. You know what I mean? It was just moments like those that kind of just like blew me away. And like I said, all I could do was just be grateful. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, like you earned this. I think that you did it the right way. Um, I acknowledge, God as my king, and he just kind of just has paved, a good path for me. And whether you're a believer or not, man, I recommend to give it a shot. You know what I mean? Because if it feels anything like how I feel, and I would want everybody to feel that. You know what I mean? It's special.
All the praise that's been heaped upon you for the tremendous performance. One of the things, I don't know how it hits you, that's been brought up multiple of times that I've read it and heard it this last couple days, putting the gym on your back, carrying that flag, and a couple lean years, and bringing Jackson Wink back to a prominent place now that Holly's been fully boxing. Like, what does that mean to you from someone that came in the gym when it was the biggest gym in MMA to now be carrying the flag?
Wink and Greg are worth it, at least to me. You know what I mean? They're worth it. I don't think that they do it. And if they do, they like it's unintentional. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm the only guy that's over here carrying the gauntlet for JW. We have plenty of fighters in our gym that are well on their way to doing exactly what, I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to accomplish, and the goals I'm trying to get to. I just try to lead by example because I had the people that were there before me. I had John Dotson, John Bones, I had Holly Holm, I had freaking Demasio Page, I had Diego Brandao, I had Diego Sanchez. Dude, the list goes on, and they all kind of, they would beat me up, you know what I mean? But they did it, in a way to where it was still carrying. They did it, just to like show me the ropes. They showed me how to get it done. They showed me through hard work and all this extra stuff that like you can do it too. You just got to be able to suffer a little bit more than most, and you're gonna have to do more than most. And when I figured that out, you know what I mean, things unraveled, and um, I'm just blessed to be part of the team. I feel like Greg and Wink are special people. I think they honestly, in my personal opinion, I feel like they've cornered more fights than any MMA coach in the world. I mean, I could be wrong, but I would put money on it. And with that type of experience, they recognize what's going on in a fight. They recognize they clearly know who I am. They know what I'm capable of. And so I just love the mixture of it, and they just gave me a ton of confidence.
Definitely pioneers of the sport, and one of the most awesome moments I've got to have in an MMA fight was being lucky enough to be positioned as a media member, like 5 feet away from their corner for some reason. So I heard all kinds of legendary advice and how they analyze fights, and got a couple of glaring looks like you're listening, aren't you? Get sorry, had to acknowledge the greatness. They are awesome, and getting to see that, embrace that. I've already kept you for a bunch of time, Steve. I appreciate you coming on.
No, dude, I'm here for you. Like I said, I treat this like work, and however long you want me, I'm here.
You were here on the pilot show for my fight show. I appreciate that. I'm gonna let you go. You have a great night. Congratulations on all the success, and I'm definitely gonna be bringing you back on here pretty soon. I'm sure.
Yeah, man, for sure. You have my number, brother. Just hit me up.
Will do. You have a good night.
You too, brother.
Got the meme machine on. Now top 10 ranked in the featherweight division. Steve Garcia, all the hard work, all the effort paying off. CageMinds.com. You go over there. We have a great interview up, posted a couple days ago with Josh Hokett. If you are a fan of MMA After Hours, I got a mantra on there by now. We need more heavyweights. The heavyweight division is not in the most illustrious place that it's been, and that is just consistent throughout all of MMA. Josh Hokett, collegiate All-American wrestler, all-purpose back at Fresno State, a beast no matter what sport he's attempted to play, even made it to camp with the 49ers. How many of us in the world could say you went to an NFL tryout, you really played, you really wore the jersey, and then the man transitions to MMA, 6-0, monstrous victories. We got a whole interview up with him, one of the most colorful characters that you've seen. He's broken the internet. He's went viral for some of his post-fight speeches. This is not that interview. This is getting down to the genuine individual and the journey that Josh Hokett has been on to get to this week's UFC debut. Max Gimenez going to be his opponent, an incredible grappler who has a load of experience, a larger heavyweight, where Hokett is actually one of your more athletic. We call him a smaller heavyweight. That one is going to be ridiculously exciting. You got the UFC Fight Night this weekend. UFC Fight Pass is backed with a bunch of great events. Next weekend is when you get that Fury card. We're going to be seeing, or not that next week, 5 days away. Ismail Israilov, just a couple days away. And we get to see the biggest fight so far of his career, where you really get to make that impression on the UFC matchmakers. Can't wait to see what that one is like. Gotta appreciate him for tuning in. Sunday, guys, that one is Sunday, where you can watch that Fury FC event. Or if you're in Houston, gotta appreciate him coming on. Whole load of stuff going on. Got a couple news and notes that I want to share again about our friends from BKFC and even a little bit of BKB. Great event this past weekend from BKFC. Like I told you, huge victories. We got some news now. Lorenzo Hunt, if you haven't seen, he is back, everyone. And November 15th, he will be jumping in to replace Dave Mundell, is going to be taking on Josh Dyer. The former light heavyweight champion looks to get his belt back. You can see that one on the BKFC app. We got some news announcements coming from that promotion. BKFC 85 is going to be a mega event December 5th in Hollywood, Florida. We are going to get the rematch. It's Luis Palomino, Austin Trout 2, and the winner does move on to the lightweight title tournament finals. Heavyweight number one contender. I've been banging a drum that Leonardo Perdomo should be fighting Ben Rothwell. I'm going to get Ben Rothwell on here too one day. That's not happening. Instead, Perdomo taking on Corey Willis, 2-0, 2 big knockout wins so far in BKFC. Can Perdomo, as he wants to stay active, keep the knockout streak going? That card's also going to get Steven Townsell, Julio Perez Rodriguez, That one is a top 10 cruiserweight bout. And UFC Spanish broadcaster Gaston Riano going to be stepping inside the squared circle for a third time. BKFC is going to be in Derby, UK, December 13th. And then they're back in Connecticut, Mohegan Sun, December 20th. Yoel Romero, who we did recently see make his BKFC debut successfully after his DBX successful debut, and now apparently is heading overseas. I saw on Instagram, Yoel Romero to headline IBA Bare-Knuckle in Russia. We'll see how that story continues to develop. As we thought, I at least expected that Yoel Romero's name would have been in the conversation to possibly be in a title eliminator. I think they're going to run back Kamosi Sakara, and you'd figure Yoel Romero would be sitting right outside of that conversation. And BKB, the plan was to do BKB 48, 4 Kings, 4 title fights. Been a little adjustment. Gustavo Trujillo will still be defending the heavyweight title. And instead of Tony Johnson, he's going to be taking on former WBA regular heavyweight champion Lucas Brown, 31-7 in boxing, 27 big wins by knockout. Trujillo, the champion, defending 7-0, 7 knockouts in the sport, bouncing back and forth between gloved and ungloved boxing. The card is unfortunately, though, only going to have 3 title fights. Smash LT Nelson, the top-ranked pound-for-pound BKB fighter, injured out. His opponent for the night, Barry Jones, remaining on the card. This one, a huge title eliminator, is he's going to square off with former champion, 2 weight classes above, Cub Hawkins, who's been making the drop down. BKFC, BKB, both making a big push to end the year on some incredibly entertaining fights. Guys are live right now, right here on my fight show. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. The social handles are there on the bottom. And because we're just kind of flying off the cuff, going at will, I think we're actually going to jump into one more story tonight. Well, one man story, a Cutman. We're going to have one more guest coming up here in just a minute. A lot of you guys from the local scene who have been associated with New Mexico, with Texas, you're going to be in store here for a treat. Coming up in just a moment. Hopefully we're all still there. Gerry Burgos, renowned El Paso Cutman, just messaged me, sent him a link. We're going to see if we can get him on, talk a little bit about the art of hand wrapping, a little bit about his journey, how he got involved with the combat sports scene. Someone that I promised, I want to hear a story, wanted to bring him in because you've been a Fight World, been to CFC down there in El Paso. This man has been all over behind the scenes. He's there in a role that was almost left open. It's almost forgotten. The tools are that the hands are the fighter's tools. They're their most important tools. And hand wrapping, if you've never had your hands wrapped, you probably don't notice how important it is, but it's a true art form, truly there to be the first level of not just offense, but protection for a fighter. Because if the hands are broken, you're not going to be able to truly utilize those tools in the manner that you desired. So I can't wait to be joined by a man who is used to being in control of those weapons, taking care of those tools, and putting the fighters in the best position to perform well. We're going to have him on in just a second, everybody. I need like a 30-second timeout to catch my breath. We are back and we are joined by our final guest of the evening. Yes, I actually do know that now. I messaged, he answered at the last minute. Cutman Burgos, as it says on the social media. How you doing tonight?
Hey, thank you, man. I'm doing great. Thank you for having me tonight, brother.
As I was leading into you coming on, telling everybody, uh, really well known throughout the Southwest. We see you at many different promotions. Where did this journey in combat sports begin?
Well, it started back in 2011. Um, I had a few years after I had gotten out of the military. I was stationed out down here in El Paso at Fort Bliss, and we had one of the cast members, Daryl Schoonover from Ultimate Fighter Season 10. He was opening a gym down here, and I decided to go train, get my hands in there. I used to box, and I came from a judo family. My family did a lot of judo back when I was a kid, but I was too young to do any of that. And then once I got out of the military, I just decided to go train, just to get myself in shape, to learn the business. And as soon as I started training, I realized I wanted to do something in this game. And I started coaching. I competed a few times. I did some kickboxing. I did some Muay Thai. I did some boxing. And I always saw the need for real professionals that knew how to take care of fighters. It was my thing. We have to take care of fighters. And slowly but surely, I saw a way as a cut man to be able to take care of the fighters and make sure that they're always taken care of, not just in the corner and assisting their corners so that they can keep fighting and finish the fight, but also taking care of their hands by wrapping them before the fight, and also getting the knowledge on how to properly take care of fighters once, in between rounds, and properly if they get knocked out.
Before we even get to the cuts, because that's way in the cage, what was the process like of learning and getting comfortable with wrapping hands? Because I've talked to a lot of people and there's a lot of hesitation because of the importance of that wrap.
Yes, there is a lot of hesitation and there is a lot of education that I've obtained. I've learned from so many different people. I have a mentor who works for the UFC. I'm also part of the World Cutmen's Association. And I started learning from Aaron Zamorano. He's the president of the World Cutmen's Association down in Mexico, and he's worked with the likes of Stitch. He's worked with so many different people. They learn from a lot of people. These organizations, they get together to talk about properly taking care of fighters. So I started doing the research. I started talking to people. Like most of us, I started watching other people do it and then watching videos. But while watching the videos, you don't really get the just and the proper way of actually doing it. So I decided to do a online seminar with Dr. Zamorano down in Mexico, and I did it virtually. And then I did his seminar, and I learned. I had already been practicing for years. I've been practicing, but once I learned the proper way and the way to actually do it and why we do it, then I just started learning, and then from there, I went all the way to San Diego to work with Cutman Juan, who is the owner of Cutman for Hire. He's actually the one of the few people and the only people who are selling the Stitch tape and works directly with Stitch Duran. And so I drove all the way to San Diego to get one of his seminars. I learned from him. Then a month later, I flew all the way to Atlanta to learn from the Irish Cutman. All these guys have worked for the UFC. They've all worked for Bellator. They've all worked with high level fighters and high level people. So I had to go learn from them. And I just started practicing every single day. I had a chance to work with so many different gyms they would let me go wrap hands, and that's how I started practicing and learning the proper way of doing it. And now I teach seminars as well.
When was the first time that the hand wraps went into an actual fight? Not just sparring, not just practice, but you were wrapping people's hands for a fight.
I started back. I started back in one of the events for RUF. RUF didn't have a Cutman yet, and it was up in Flagstaff. I want to say around 2014, 2015. I really can't remember because it was such a long time. It was before they had the great Cutman Casey for them in Arizona, and one of our fighters needed us. So of course, that's pretty much how we all start. We start working with different teams, and I was coaching, so we went. I wrapped the guy's hands, and we worked in the corner. And ever since then, I just started working. That was pretty much the one of the first times my hand wrap started.
Were you nervous?
Of course, you're always nervous, especially when you're starting. It's part of it. You don't want your hand wraps to be crappy. You don't want your hand wraps to look bad. But that's how you start. You got to start somewhere, and I'm very blessed to have worked and learned from so many people that now I'm very thankful for what I do. I'm just blessed.
How much would you say the process and the technique gets refined over this decade?
Oh, it has been so much better now. We have a lot of great cutmans. We have a lot of great coaches that are actually looking to learn. They go out and learn. They really, really want to learn on how to protect their fighters. I always say, even in training, you should be able to wrap your hands and protect them. They are your money makers. You have to take care of them even long before. So in the last couple of years, shoot, 5, 10 years from the beginning, I've seen so many great hand wrappers who actually know what they're doing, and they know exactly how to do it.
You have the military background, so I'm sure that there comes an extra level of composure with the stress that life put under you. So I'm guessing that going into being the cut man side of it, once you get in the cage, that composure really did come in handy.
Oh yes, for most definitely. It's not just the pressure of being in the cage trying to stop a bleeding and keeping the fighter in the fight, but you also get the stress of being in backstage, wrapping so many hands and making sure that you get the hands wrapped with enough time and getting everybody ready before the fight. So you get that stress from the minute you start all the way to the last fight. And yeah, I believe that for me, being a paramedic before I joined the military, and then being in the military, yes, it helps a lot.
What is the fight because of the cut you had to work on that sticks with you?
One of my old buddies that you've we know already, um, Randy McCarty. He had a really bad cut in Colorado. I had to work on that. That thing was bleeding. Luckily, they stopped it, so I didn't have to work too much. But one of the really, really fights that comes to mind, I had to work from the first round. It was at United Fight League in Arizona. This kid that he's already in the UFC. I'm sorry, I have a brain fart. I can't remember his name, but this kid came in from the MMA lab, and I'm in the blue corner. This kid comes in. He's destroying this guy. He has a cut. He has 4 cuts and a broken nose from the first round, and I kept them all. I kept them in the fight all the way to the third round until the ref finally stopped it because he was taking too much punishment. But I kept him, and that was probably the most nervous and the hardest fight that I've had to work.
What's some of the keys that you can share with us to managing those cuts, to being able to get a fighter ready in those 60 seconds and be able to get him back off the stool?
Well, one of the things is their fight IQ. Fight IQ. If they have good fight IQ, they know that they need us. They know that they need us. Their coaches are gonna know. Their coaches also are gonna know. Hey, we need him. He's gonna work on it. They trust us. Usually, the promoters, if it's a high level promotion, they know that we're gonna do the thing. But also, it's just being confident, knowing the facial structure, and knowing what tools and medications and things that you have to do to make sure. And it's also knowing the rules and regulations of every promotion and every commission. Because if you know what you're doing, you're going to know what to do. And knowing that, okay, maybe this cut may not stop the fight. So let me work on this one because that's the one that's going to stop the fight.
It's a lot of pressure put on you. It's a lot going on in a situation.
And a lot of times you don't have the full minute. You know, a lot of times you can't even get to them. And, so a lot of times you have less than a minute. Sometimes the coaches get in the way. Sometimes they're turned in a different angle that you really can't get to them. So a lot of the times, if the coaches know you and the fighters know you, it, like I said, fight IQ. If they know, okay, look, I got a cut. Let me turn this way so that the cutman can work on it, so I can keep. Because our job is to make you look good, right? If you pay attention to high level shows, the fighters, when they stop the bleeding, they get cleaned up in between rounds. When after round one, round two starts, they look clean. There's no blood. They look like nothing just happened for the most part, depending on the cut. But that's our job. We're trying to make you look as best as possible and keep you in the fight longer.
Is it hard getting their attention sometimes?
Yes, yes. Sometimes I've been pushed. They don't even want me to touch them. They're bleeding, and I'm trying to help them out. And there's times where like, no, don't touch me. Some coaches think that, oh, the cutman's here. You must be getting messed up, like they're losing. That's not necessarily the case. The judges do not see what we're doing, right? But also, they do judge sometimes on damage. So again, it's a thin line, and it happens all the time. I've had fighters tell me, "Don't touch me." I just wipe them and I leave them. You know, Sometimes I feel bad because it's like, look, I didn't work on the cut. He's still bleeding. It might make me look bad, but it has happened where fighters don't want me to work on them. I've been pushed even.
When you're in that moment and everything's going so chaotic, how did it take a while? Because I can understand the hand wrapping's one thing, but there's so much. Does it take a while to hone in and kind of focus, being in that environment and then getting used to it?
Yeah, of course. It's just like everything. It takes practice, it takes knowledge, it takes studying. I make notes on every show that I work. At the end of the night, you may not see it, but in between, when I have a chance, I'm making notes on my phone, making sure, okay, I messed up this way, or I should have did it this way. Let me ask my mentors and the people that know what they're doing, um, what I should have done. You know, so it's a constant development. Yes, at the beginning I was nervous, but you still have to practice. You practice at home. I wrap my own hands. I think of different things that I should be doing to help the fighters.
How often are you going to the gyms now these days to still just wrap hands?
Oh, I go every day. I still coach boxing. I still coach Muay Thai. I still coach kickboxing. Sometimes I even go to some gyms where I taught some guys, and after a while, I'm like, "Hey, wrap my hands. Let me see how you're doing now." But I also still wrap hands all the time for my fighters and for people. I even have fighters that hit me up all the time, and they ask me, "Hey, I need some training reps." So I go, or they come over to my house and I wrap their hands. So I'm constantly wrapping hands and working on my craft every day.
With all of the traveling, we see with this promotion, we still see you around Arizona, Texas. You're here all the time. You're branching out. There's still the time to put in the effort to work with your own fighters.
Yes, yes, because I most of my travel is during the weekends, as you know, right? Some the UFL show, it's usually on Fridays in Arizona. You know, most of the like Fight World, CFC down here, Southwest Brawl, whatever shows, they're usually on Saturdays, or APFC, you know, they're on Sundays. So a lot of a lot of my traveling happens during the weekends. So as soon as I'm back, whether it's Monday or Tuesday, I still go back and still train.
How deep is that love for the martial arts?
Oh, it's very deep. It's always been there my whole life. I mean, if I didn't love this, I wouldn't be doing it. You know, I started working for free, like most of us. I mean, there's still times that I still work for free. Like when I go do boxing tournaments for nationals, sometimes, you know, yes, some of the fighters hire me, but a lot of the times I'm there, I'm working with fighters who have no money, you know, so it's not about the money. You have to love this. You got to have a passion for this, you know, just like any martial artist, anybody that loves this, you got to do this for the love of it.
CFC, in a short time, that promotion has done some really cool things. The vibe that they got, the ambiance, the way they put on entertainment. What was it like being there, working on fighters last
Oh man,
October, 20 degrees
it's
outside?
oh my God, that last one, yeah, it was cold. I was blessed that I was able to have such a great cut team come in. We were out there. We still wrapped all the hands, but I mean, like I said, it wasn't about us. We're not there for us. We're there for the fighters. And shout outs to CFC, because what they're doing, it's one of the best things. And I'm happy to be with them since CFC won and the fights that they're putting on. But yeah, man, it was the vibes that they've had for the shows, the fighters that they bring, everything from CFC 1 all the way. And stay tuned, because CFC 6 is coming in March. Um, I, you didn't hear it from me, but it's coming in March.
Oh, so we got big news coming. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah,
Have
yeah,
the,
man. I'm telling you, the Southwest it's coming, man.
that's right. It seems like the fight scene is picking back up again. Whether it's Rough, UFL in Arizona, getting LFA back around, Southwest
Yes,
Brawl, Empire, CFC, Fight World,
yes,
APFC,
sir.
uh, Fury. So many promotions out of Colorado.
So
It's good to
many,
see
so
things turning around
many.
again.
So many. I mean, I'm telling you, and then the fighters down here, man, they're developing so well. I mean, from Albuquerque, Tucson, Arizona, El Paso, Las Cruces, El Paso, Texas, even Juarez. I mean, we have fighters coming all the way from Chihuahua, Mexico to fight in these promotions. I mean, it's insane how good these fighters are.
There's always been great martial arts in El Paso. I almost think, though, there's a really neat coincidence that since Valentina Shevchenko started repping the city, you've kind of even seen a bigger spotlight get put on the area.
Of course, of course. But before she came down, already the Southwest was already popping it off, you know. I think that's one of the reasons mainly she came down, because she knows that down here we have amazing fighters, and they've helped her so much in her fight camp. So I think that's one of the reasons why she actually comes, because there's so many great fighters in El Paso, Las Cruces, even Juarez. She's had guys come up and help her out from Juarez and Chihuahua. So, I mean, like I said, I cannot say enough about the Southwest area.
I got to put you on the spot before I let you go.
Yes, sir.
Prospect that everybody should be most excited from coming out of that southern New Mexico, Texas area. You can give me a couple names.
I'm gonna tell you about 3 right now, straight up. Jacobo Martos out of Las Cruces. He's the current CFC, one of the current CFC champs. Of course, Ian Varela out of Albuquerque from Borg. You already know him. I'm gonna keep adding, bro. Out of SFS 505, Santi. You gotta watch out for that guy. And then, of course, out of EKA, of course, you already got, like I said, Jacobo Martos, Andrea Amaro, which is the current Fury champion. She trains out of Elite Kickboxing. And then El Guapo Santillan, that guy, you guys got to look out for those guys, man.
Southwest, creating prospects once again, bringing it back. These things kind of happen in cycles. We're starting to see a lot of talent produce one more time. I told you for a long time we were going to do this.
No, thank you, man. I know you have, bro, and it's always great to see you, man. You're putting the MMA and the combat sports out here in Southwest on notice, man. And like I said, man, I really appreciate your time and what you're doing, man.
You can keep up with him at Cutman Burgos over on Instagram. I appreciate you for the time tonight, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. We'll do it again. I'll see you in Albuquerque at Fight World.
We'll see you at Fight World. I'm guessing we might see you the next night at APFC.
That's right.
Looking forward to a busy weekend.
Yeah, it'll be very busy. I'll see you, brother.
We'll see you. That was Gerry Cutman Burgos. Got to thank Ismail Israilov. Got to thank Gerry. Got to thank the Mean Machine, Steve Garcia. The pilot, kind of a rough flight, little bit of turbulence. Gonna work on it. Gonna do a couple things. Gonna assess. We're gonna come back to the next fight and be even better. My Fight Show, episode 1, will come next week. The pilot in the books. Cage Minds, Combat Sports News, Facebook and YouTube. Cage Minds, Combat Sports News, across the rest of your social media. I think I forgot to add that we even have a thread starting now. So keep up with what we're doing. A whole lot more. UFC 322, November 15th. We will have Cage Minds Live, the watch along featuring James Romero. And again, get over and check out the latest episodes. MMA After Hours, Pro Wrestling After Hours. Find those at cageminds.com or anywhere you listen to your podcast. You can also check out Mike Adams 2.0 from ESPN Radio Albuquerque 1017 The Team. Appreciate everyone I'm working with. And let's see how this new journey goes. Truly, truly do appreciate everyone that watched, commented, hung out for any of tonight.